Right, so good morning to you. Today is Monday, the 18th of January 2021. My name is Kwame Owusu. So welcome to Good Morning Africa. I'm super excited to come back again. Thank you to you, Justice Appiah, and thank you to the viewers for staying true to Pan-African television. I am excited to be back this morning to join you and to discuss all the issues that are of great relevance to you and I. I'm super excited because, the weekend has been a little exciting for me. Also, it has been a little sad for me, a mixture of feelings, Today happens to be exactly 1 year since I lost my dad. 18th of January 2020, I lost my dad, and it was a very difficult moment. But now I'm getting over it, even though, of course, every year you get to remember that you've lost somebody close to you. And also, you do know that COVID-19 is on the rise, and I want to implore everybody to make sure that they take their precautions very seriously. It's not a joke anymore, so make sure that you wear your nose mask all the time. Make sure that you social or physical distant all the time. Make sure you use your alcohol-based hand sanitizers. Make sure that you stay safe at all material times. I mean, it's not even safe, again, to stay in your house, really, because you might not have it, somebody might have it and bring it to you. So, but the cases are really very scary. And so I want to encourage all of us to make sure that we adhere to all the protocols and the precautions that will, at least to a very large extent, save us from contracting coronavirus. It's very, very important that we do so. So please, before you step out of your homes, make sure that you have your nose masks. Make sure that you have your small hand sanitizer in your bag somewhere. Make sure you always wash your hands when you get the opportunity to, to do so. So please make sure you take it very seriously, because the numbers are scary, very, really, really, very, very, very scary. I think yesterday the president mentioned how fast the cases are increasing from 994 something to all skyrocketing to about 1,000 cases in a day, 200 cases every day. It's dangerous, it's scary. So please make sure you protect yourselves at all times. My panelists are here seated. Mr. Justice Heneku Ekufu, good morning to you, my big boss. I trust you are well, sir.
Yes.
Very well. And Dr. Mark Kurt Angel Nawani is also here. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
Why KN95? Why are you the only person using it? You should bring us some, so we can all enjoy. We can all enjoy using this. I think this is the prescribed one, right?
Well, yeah, the lead, shall I say the lead one, but some of them have been prescribed, including the others that are in the market here.
We're going to be touching on coronavirus right after the African story. It's very important. I'm sure you remember that over the weekend or so, Uganda went to the polls, and my expectation was that we were going to see a new phase spring up within the political circles of Uganda. However, I don't know whether or not that is what the reality is, but Yoweri Museveni emerged victorious in that contest, and many have raised questions. Really, he won with over 58 point something vote margin, and his close contender Bobi Wine trailing with some 34 point something percent. People have asked so many questions. Doubts have been raised. Particularly because Bobi Wine was subjected to house arrest, and even till yesterday he tweeted that he has run out of food. The military are still around his home. The wife went to the garden to get some fresh tomatoes and things like that, and she was prevented from doing so. I don't know what the end game is. I don't know what the tactics is, but what we can say is that Bobi Wine is not safe at all in his own country, Uganda. It's quite strange, but we'll try and get into that. So Uganda's president re-elected for 6th term. And I've been to Uganda. When I was in Rwanda, I went to Uganda a little bit. Nothing is really changing there. And I'm surprised that the people, particularly, most of them are within the youth bracket. So, it begs the question as to whether or not we are really ready for a new paradigm in Africa, because the youth who are supposed to know and act better are not doing the right things. The elderly who are supposed to do the right things and leave behind a better thing for us are equally not doing what they are supposed to do. I don't know why. Well, your guess is as good as mine, but we'll try and find out, the rationale behind the thinking of many of the African youth on the continent. Earlier, before we came on air, Dr. Nawani expressed that perhaps it's as a result of the fear that has been created in the system. So everybody is pretty much afraid that they're going to vote for Bobby Wine. Otherwise, we can just come and kill you and things like that. But we need to move beyond that particular, action, if you will, and then create a path of development for our people. That's the only way we can realize our full potential as Africans. And surges in COVID-19 cases, Ghana Health Service races to secure facilities to treat increasing numbers of patients in Accra. Ghanaian Times reported this particular story, and I'm sure it's springing off the back of what the president said yesterday, wherefore the president indicated that now we don't have a lot of health facilities to accommodate persons with COVID-19, and that is even the most scariest aspect of this whole conversation. Hopefully something will happen with immediacy. Turmoil in MPP as Akachi South Party executives demand removal of MCE. The Inside reported this particular story, and also fuel prices to go up. The Inside reported this particular story again. We will try and bring into the fray some other, issues that are consequential to the generality of our conversation this morning. Ghana has to take her pride of place where we talk about governance. Are we heading towards that, or we are retrogressing? These are very important and burning questions that we ought to continuously ask ourselves for onward discussion and perhaps some solution to it. Good morning again to you, sirs, and thank you very, very, very sincerely for spending your morning with us this Monday morning. Let's start with Uganda, and Mr. Heneku, with the grace of respect, if I may, start with you. Uganda's president was elected for 6th term, and I was scandalized, really. I'm not surprised, but I was scandalized by the show of brute force in order to win power. I mean, the question has been very fundamental. If you know you've done a lot for your people, why subject your opposition to strict brute force in order to be re-elected? Just allow the system to flow. If the people so desire that you continue to lead them, I'm sure they're going to do just that. But using other means which are illegal and illegitimate to get your way through, really, is one that raises a lot of questions and doubts about even you, the person, and the kind of governance that you've had over the period. 35 years is not a joke, Mr. Heneku.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Good morning, Kwame. Good morning, Doctor. And good morning to all the good people of our country and the cherished viewers of Pan-African television. Yes, Uganda, once touted as the jewel of Africa, the jewel of the British possessions in Africa, has the Victoria Falls, that is the Lake Victoria, which is the source of the Nile. And the Nile, which is crucial to the well-being of countries like Egypt, Sudan, Ethiopia, and others. It has had a turbulent history. The turbulent history where it once upon a time had a very violent and dictatorial state with Idi Amin as the dictator of Uganda. He was overthrown at the end of the 70s, and there were a series of coups d'etats and attempted coups d'etats, indeed, till the revolutionary wind, which was also blowing in Africa. Mind you, it had blown in Ghana earlier with the coming into power of Jerry Rawlings. Also blew over that side, and Yoweri Museveni, a guerrilla, came from the bush and took over power and brought stability to Uganda. But for him to be able to survive, he had to make compromises with the West and had to adopt the neoliberal type of economics, which allowed the West to look the other way around and avoid subverting him. Of course, the West also used him in subverting other states, whether it's in the Congo, which has very rich mineral resources, or whether it's in Rwanda. I mean, most of the Kagame was a colonel in the Uganda resistance movement.
Yeah.
And he was sponsored by the Ugandans to go and overthrow or to win the civil war in Rwanda. The truth of the matter is that the political space in Uganda has not been widened. Unlike us in 1992, the political space was widened, and by 2000, we had gone full hog, and we could accept a change of government. Uganda has not, because it is still a neo-colonial entity, and it still uses the state as a coercive force to maintain the power of a military, a small militarized elite in power. And that is what is happening. They are not going to, they didn't allow Basenje to win an election. Why would they allow Bobi Wine to win an election? And we all know that it was a foregone conclusion. And they were using the soldiers either to kill, to maim, to stop them. The state itself is a problem. And the state has been patronized. It has been made partisan, just like in Ghana. In Ghana, you realize that the whole institutions of state have been taken over by one party. To the extent that even in parliament, you had the clerk of parliament taking strange decisions in a partisan manner.
Absolutely.
We all saw it. You understand? And that is also akin to closing down or narrowing the political space. And of course, if you narrow the political space, you allow for extra political activities outside the institutions of the so-called democratic states, which you have created for people to be able to express themselves. You understand? So I don't have much hope for Uganda. Yes, he would have won. He could have contrived to win. Yes, he has the power of the military in his hands, the coercive arms of the state. But we all know what happened to Idi Amin.
Yeah.
He had to run and go and seek refuge in Saudi Arabia. Some of them, after Idi Amin, they were killed, they were shot. But of course, who suffers is the ordinary people of Uganda, the hard-working people of Uganda. And Yoweri Museveni stay in power, it's not only to the advantage of the elite in Uganda, but it's to the advantage of those who are ruling in Rwanda and what is happening in the Congo. Most of the minerals, etc., in the Congo, the civil war, mercenaries, etc., is sponsored by Yoweri Museveni in the Congo. It destabilizes the Congo. The Congo is potentially one of the richest countries in the whole world. It has the size of Western Europe. It has almost every imaginable mineral you can think of. It has the Congo River, which can power electricity to all Africa. But there's civil war, series of civil war and the tribal conflict there. Why? Because Yoweri Museveni is profiting off illegal mining and the use of armed militia over there. And that is what makes him want to stay in power. So Uganda is just a rear guard bastion for some corrupt elite in Africa to profit off the other African countries. It
means this hegemony is going to linger on, even after the demise of Museveni. Because, I mean, once the system has been created, and of course, you succinctly mentioned the influence of a system or a system that has been created, which system now defines the state. So, for instance, anybody who emerges as the leader must necessarily come from within that system created. Otherwise, it's just an a fishing expedition.
But there could also be an attempt to...
I mean, this attempt was really very visible.
Yeah, this is a civil attempt to overthrow the system.
I see what you mean.
When in the United States...
But you see, there's one thing that I've come to know, and I went to school with some Ugandan military guys in Rwanda.
Yes.
We're reading the law together in Rwanda. And to say that they are committed to the system is even an understatement. you know. So I don't see how anybody will emerge from, for instance, from within to take advantage or to even organize a coup, attempt a coup. To the extent that, like you intimated clearly, the military elite are directly benefiting from the governance of Museveni, because it appears that they even see themselves as part of the presidency. I don't know if I'm making sense to you.
Yeah, you are making sense to me, but let's be very frank. The history of Uganda precedes Museveni.
Absolutely.
The different groups contending for power and the different classes precedes Museveni. So for now, it might seem that he's on the ascendancy. I mean, who thought in the 80s in Ghana that there could be anything other than Jerry Rawlings? Even in the 90s. But let's be frank, Jerry Rawlings' party has now been relegated where even in parliament and elsewhere, they are being hit left, right, and center. But he had absolute control of the state in the 80s and even in the 90s. So who says that in Uganda it will be the same all the time? No, there's bound to be change.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. My argument is this, that, you know, and the reason I'm saying this is because, yes, I can appreciate all the things that you're talking about, which is, in fact, very true. But also what is true is the fact that the system that has been created in Uganda makes no room for anybody to feel that they are not part, particularly those who are within the military setup, okay, feel part of the system, because they know that the continuing stay in power of Museveni directly benefits them.
I agree.
But you know, most people stage these coup d'etats when they feel that they are sidelined.
Yeah, but it doesn't necessarily
yes,
have to be a coup d'etat. Look at the United States of America.
Yeah.
After John Kennedy won,
yeah,
the right wing of Barry Goldwater, of the Republicans who were not happy, contrived and shot him. People are not linking it up, but the right wing of the United States of America, in 1963, after Kennedy had won in 1960-61, shot him. And they tried that before Reagan was able to come to power. When Donald Reagan, Donald whatever his name, Trump came to power, and he's supposed to have lost, and he has to go and he didn't want to go, they tried to use force to take over the government of the United States of America. An attempted coup d'etat happened in the United States of America.
Yeah.
We might not want to, they call it insurrection. But insurrection, which is a change of regime by force, or maintenance of a regime by military force, is a coup d'etat. So, forget it. Uganda might seemingly be in the grips of Museveni today, but there's resistance. And that resistance might crystallize to something higher, which will sweep them off power.
Well, thank you very much. You're still watching the Newspaper Review segment on Pan-African Television with me, Kwame Owusu. So super excited to come your way. Now, Dr. Noel, I'm coming to you. I mean, we've listened to the historical analysis by Mr. Justice Ekufuor-Hinneku. One thing is clear, that the orientation of the people in Uganda, beg your pardon, is one that cannot be glossed over in all of these conversations we're having. To the extent that, and I think Mr. Pratt also indicated same, the last time we had a conversation, he said, listen, the people are used, for instance, the elderly, all that they know is that Museveni brought some stability, and I think you also mentioned that. That's all they know. And for them, that is what they want. They want that stability in Uganda. So it does not matter whether or not what we are seeing now from without Uganda is some dictatorship, some level of dictatorship. But to the people, it's not dictatorship. That is stability. That's the orientation. For the most part, a lot of people in the youth, within the youth bracket, who are, for instance, 35 years and above, have also come to know the kind of politics that has been practiced in Uganda, i.e. the Museveni's, politics, right? So the orientation is clear, and it will be very difficult to wash the brains of people to come to the realization that what Museveni is presenting to them, or what Museveni has packaged and is presenting to them, is not what real democracy is, and that it is just a system created to continue to subvert their will and to continue to take advantage of them for their own parochial interest. Do you find this as perhaps one of the bases for which using Bobby Wine, albeit that he has so much support, could not win this election?
Kwame, let me first say good morning to the viewers of Pan Africa Television, and also say hello to Nabdans. Yempo to Nafsuba Accra, Kumasi, Takradi, Yempo as a wabi, Kayaribia Kuna Zinso. I'm just telling the Nabdans everywhere in Accra, Kumasi, and Takradi, everywhere, to try sometimes to come home and we'll sit down and then we talk about development. I think that is the new way we have to go to accelerate our development in our area.
Absolutely.
Having said that, Kwame, you see, the situation with Museveni is that he also came in at a time that Africa had experienced our worst form of dictatorship. In Ghana, we can talk of the Champon regime coming all over, where practically nothing was being done. There was no direction, no programs, no projects. And before George Wallace came, this is what actually was happening in Ghana here. The same thing in his own country. I understand the kings of that country were very, very brutal. And when Idi Amin also came, it was not anything better to talk about. And so the people experienced very bad situations until Museveni came, and he was like a benevolent dictator. A dictator that had come to stabilize the situation, a dictator that was pro-development, a dictator that was to ensure that Ugandans also got their share of whatever cake that was in the country. But he made the fundamental mistakes that most dictators made. To overstay is welcome. To overstay is welcome. He drew a constitution that had an open-ended presidency. You could be there for 100 years. If you could only live after those number of years, you could be there. This is the difference that we've got to understand, that Museveni made practically some mistakes. If he is gaining from it, he should understand all his imaginations and everything. I don't think that there's anything for him to do anymore. He has not got anything new. When he came initially, I remember that he could just be equated to our Jerry John Rawlings. He was popular on the ground. The West accepted him. The Community of African States all accepted him. He could even go to intervene in some other countries whenever there was misunderstanding here and there, send the Ugandan army to assist here and there, and nobody spoke because Museveni, or Uganda under Museveni, was like some form of a bright star in Africa. His handling of the AIDS crisis, I remember they were highly hit by the AIDS crisis, and using those his dictatorial methods, etc., he was able to some extent, control the AIDS crisis, the spread of AIDS, the implementation of the programs, the protocols, all related to AIDS, to the extent that, at least to some extent, the AIDS was controlled in Uganda. So in the medical area, whenever they were speaking, they could quote Uganda as a country that has been hit very hard by AIDS, but due to the good work of Museveni, things are under control. The civil society had their work to do. The NGOs were working very, very hard, and they were all being assisted by the government to ensure that they carry out their programs. All these things added to as a plus for Museveni. But what did he do in fact, looking at Uganda now, he has not nurtured anybody who you can just look through and say that, oh, this is the emerging leader. Apart from his own family and other people that I understand one of his children or so is also in the army or etc., or taking portfolios in the government, you can see someone outside that he has nurtured that, oh, this the group of people who are likely to come up. So I'm not surprised this young man with his civil background, is a pop, singer,
he was a musician.
Background, just comes out, like a self-sacrifice to come and lead the opposition to see what they can do. Kwame, if you go to look at whatever election that took place, it's likely that when you count, what they are declaring can be right. But it's the circumstances before the elections. There were times that he was not allowed to practically campaign. Look at the way they treated the wife. I've seen one video shot like that, where the wife was being dragged on the ground. He was just being escorted, and as if he was not going fast enough or something. And it came to the extent that he was being dragged on the ground. His young boy was standing there crying. Is that the democracy that we want in Uganda? Museveni had made mistakes. He has overstayed. He should look at the constitution again and get it. In fact, if he had gone even 2-5 terms and handed over, I wouldn't be surprised if Museveni would have ended up being a hero in Africa and a hero in his country. But now it appears that at 76 years, he's still going for the next 5 years, and he has no plans of stepping aside.
I think they enjoy being humiliated.
Are you going to be?
Eventually, that's what it will come to.
Mugabe.
That's what I was going to say. Eventually, that's what it's going to come to. His closest ally may even betray him. So,
you are going to be president until you can't walk to work, or you can't go out of your room. So let's look at it very well. He himself, he has still got the opportunity to correct some of the mistakes that he has made in terms of governance, in terms of the putting up a democratic structure. After all these years, if he should leave, and Uganda should be like how it used to be, back to that type of dictatorial governance, then obviously he has not achieved anything. You mentioned that, yes, Ghana under Rawlings, yes, we have been able to move forward. The Rawlings government has won and lost elections on, I think, 3 occasions. The opposition has also won and lost elections also on 3 occasions. Now we are all equal now on the ground. And that was because Rawlings gave space for them to operate. And usually, people fought for it, yes, just like in Uganda. Just like in Uganda, people fought for it. But it makes sense, or the individual, the players involved, it has to make sense to them. That yes, if we agree that, people are fighting for it and it's a good thing, why don't we allow it to happen? And so Rawlings made it to happen.
Okay.
And that's why Ghana, we can now stand and say that yes, we are a democratic country, always waiting for 4 years to come, and we'll see what we can do.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Nawal.
Let me just conclude it this way. You see, sometimes it is not a matter of even changing a party. Sometimes, if in the same party, personalities are changed. Without a change in the party, it also helps to propagate the democratic process. And so that's the system that we have in Ghana here.
Right, thank you very much, Dr.
And I believe that, Museveni still has a chance to correct some of this.
To redeem himself. All right, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Dr. Nwani there. 0260846539 is the WhatsApp number. And let me remind you that we are streaming live on our Facebook page, which is Pan-African Television. So for those of you who cannot watch in your homes because you have to go to work, you can just simply watch on Facebook whilst you are in your car or whilst you are, being chauffeured to your offices. Please, it's very, very interactive. The WhatsApp number, I believe, is already on the screens. If it's not, let me quickly mention it, which is 0260846539. And Facebook page is Pan-African Television page. Just look for Pan-African Television's page on Facebook and like it and share with us what your thoughts are. You can leave the comments underneath the post. I will read it. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter. My Twitter handle is at Kwame Owusu Danso. Facebook is at Kwame Owusu Danso. Instagram is at Kwame Owusu Danso. You can connect with me there as well, and I will read your messages here for you. Now, for those of you who just joined us, we just dispatched with the African story, which has got to do with Uganda and the issues that characterized the organization of their election, which election saw Yoweri Museveni emerge as the president of Uganda for the 6th term. Forgive me, the name sometimes confuses me. So we've just dispatched with that. But we're coming back home to our country, Ghana, and discuss some very important issues that has got to do with our health. And one of such is coronavirus and how we are dealing with that pandemic. Indeed, the president addressed the nation. I couldn't watch. I didn't get an opportunity to watch. But what I gathered from that particular address to the state or to the nation is that the police will be enforcing safety protocols. And also, we've had surges in COVID-19 cases, and we don't have facilities. In fact, I think I posted it on my Facebook wall. So let me just quickly go there and share with you some of the highlights of what was said by the president. Some disturbing details from President Akufo-Addo's address. One, active cases have moved from 900 last week to 1,924 cases active. 200 new cases daily. 3, our treatment centers have gone from 0 patients to full. Severe cases have moved from 18 last week to 120. 2 weeks ago, there was no critical case. We now have 33. Those severely ill are youthful persons without underlying health issues, which is surprising to health experts. Deaths moved from 338 to 352. 13 out of 16 regions have recorded active cases. And if the rate continues, our health infrastructure cannot contain. These are some of the disturbing highlights from President's address to the nation yesterday. Mr. Eneku, let me hear from you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. I don't know, but I thought that the speech was simply to sound the alarm, and it was shot on the ways for us to contain it, other than a one-dimensional way of asking the IGP to enforce it. And so this morning I heard that you have some policemen who are forcing people without nose masks to clean gutters and all those kind of things. That's absolute rubbish. That is not how to run a state. That's not how to run human beings. You knee-jerk reaction to things which we know exist, and which we know we can make prognosis and know that there can be a resurgence, doesn't call for such knee-jerk reactions. We knew that the COVID had not gone. Of course, we needed to have our elections. We brought down the fear level by saying that we have to live with it. And you had, both in the public space and in the private space, people not observing the protocols. And nothing was happening to them. What happened in April of last year, we suddenly forgot about it and thought that, oh, because of the low numbers in Africa, we're immune to it. disregarding the fact that our collection of statistics in itself is very low, and that it is not all deaths in this country which are reported officially. Absolutely. And which we try to find out through postmortem what actually killed the people. So I must say that there was clear underreporting, which was encouraged by government for political reasons. You understand? Because it was a political season. There had to be a make-believe that, oh, everything was all right. Everything was successful. So at a certain time, the daily bulletins of the COVID news ceased completely.
The updates,
And what did it mean? It meant that there was no more COVID. That is what the public, the impression the public had.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden they said that they were going to open schools. I don't understand why in this country our solutions to problems is not multifaceted. We don't think outside the box. We know that when we group people, especially young children, we will not be able to supervise them to observe social distances or even wear masks. When I was coming, I saw school children, about 15, 16, were not wearing their mask. Not because they don't have it, but
they didn't feel
young people, yes. Why is it that when we put people at home, we didn't take advantage in investing in the internet so that we could increase the number of people who could do home studies? In the 1950s and 1960s, there was correspondence course. People didn't necessarily have to meet a teacher before they passed City and Guilds or the London University exams or whatever it is. It was called correspondence course. It means long distance courses has always been there with us. They were using the mail. Now we are lucky we have the internet. Have we invested, have we taken the opportunity that, look, oh, this is a problem. Let's take the opportunity to invest in new forms of communication for education. When I was growing up, the primary school I attended was near Broadcasting. And sometimes we children were taken to Broadcasting House to act and take part in educational plays. I learned a lot of things watching television and listening to Auntie Meya on Ghana radio at 3. You understand? So we've been using these things for a very long time. We brought some education on the television and in a haphazard manner. I doubt whether the school children are even told of the timetable. It is well structured for them to be able to follow. And now the president comes and creates panic, tells us that the active cases has now surged from 900 to 1,900.
Yep.
Tells us that now younger folks who were told were more resilient are now suffering from the disease. And so the same of the old thing, the police, the IGP, instead of the IGP being told to go and look for the killers of the electoral violence, those who were killed during the elections, now they are being told to go and enforce no wearing of masks. This is a social thing. You don't use force. There are many other ways of persuading people to do it. There are many other sanctions and peer pressure. You've opened the churches for people to go. You have opened this. You are not enforcing that the protocols you put in place. How do you expect us to have results?
Yeah.
So you want to be seen to be doing something. So yes, you have come on television, monopoly of the air for 15, 20 minutes, and told us that the IGP will be enforcing the law. How is it going to enforce the law? Have we been given clear guidelines about how the police is going to do it? Because we have not. That's why policemen are forcing people to clean gutters for not wearing nose masks.
In productive hours.
Yes. Can you imagine? Now the policeman has become a judge, a policeman and a judge within his own courts. And you know what will happen? If I don't want to go and clean the gutter, I'll look for some extra payment for the policeman who will collect it because it is their culture and allow me to go. So you have just created another avenue for corruption. It is crazy. The elites in this country have disappointed us. It seems as if we went to school for nothing. We studied for nothing. We can't think outside the box. We can't be innovative. We can't be original in the solutions we look for the problems which faces us. I don't know.
Let's look at the case management process, Mr. Eneko. I'm still staying with you. Of course, you've spoken about our elections and how we found a way of doing away, with observing protocols. Indeed, I mean, the president visited some places where there were huge crowds, people thronged, certain places where the president visited, etc. The vice president, in a similar fashion. Almost all government agencies were involved in that process. So it begs the question as to, like you intimated, why the knee-jerk approach in trying to resolve this? Because this has been a perennial process, if I can say that it's not just a one-stop process. We, particularly the politicians, were involved in the process of getting us to this point because of, like you intimated, our own political and parochial interests. Let's look at the process itself, the management of the cases, and the reporting of same, and what it did and what it did not do. I don't know if I'm making sense. Yeah. I just want us to look at that aspect of the virus and how we dealt with it.
Yeah, well, you know that because it's a virus, it makes people get sick. So one of the basic things is for the infrastructure to be created or invested in to meet it. One, and when we're talking of the infrastructure, we are not talking only of the brick and mortar, we are also talking of the human beings who work within those structures. Apart from the hospital, Gan East Hospital, which was designated for it within a certain period of time, did we try to designate other places? And you just said there were 13 regions that it is being reported.
Absolutely.
Did we anticipate that there could be a surge? And when did the surge start?
Discovered. Absolutely. That's what
the surge started in Europe about 2 months ago.
Yeah.
We have scientists in this country. How could we think that, it is only the snow which could have created the conditions for it? What about our harmattan?
Can it, can the virus...
Because the harmattan also creates a certain cold environment.
Mr. Eneko, my disappointment has got to do with government's posture and how it communicates. You remember? And I'm scandalized because Kojo Ponkroma, in one of the, in the early days of COVID-19, said, before COVID things we have thought in a way, because they said that they were always there to deal with the issue even before it escalated. Now, my question is very fundamental. If we were doing that, then how come we did not realize that we're going to get to a point where the numbers will increase so that we will create conditions that will not encourage the surging of the numbers in COVID-19?
How was the president, why was the president compelled to come and address us? Because the Ghana Medical Association has sounded alarm.
Exactly.
Why should it take the Ghana Medical Association to sound the alarm when we have created whole institutions within the Ministry of Health to be the watchdog, to be able to tell us what is happening, what is likely to happen, to anticipate and everything? I mean, within the health sector, we have disease surveillance, where they can anticipate that in this season, because of the prevalence of such and such and such a thing, this is likely to
happen. We just lowered our guard.
We have to be scientific.
We just lowered our guard. I mean, from what you're saying.
Deliberately and politically.
Politically.
I bet you, if Ghana Medical Association had not come to sound the alarm, we would have just dictated and behaved as if nothing has happened. I'm convinced of that.
Mr. Pratt, I'm coming to you because you are going to really take us into all the health ramifications, etc. But Mr. Pratt, I recall in the early days of COVID-19, consistently without contradiction, sounded the alarm that in most of the health facilities that we had just about what was it 55? How do you call that thing? The
ventilators.
Ventilators.
Because we refused to invest in it.
And the beds were I think we just had a few numbers to address this, but nobody listened.
Because our biggest problem in this country is our refusal to invest. We don't invest in factories. We don't invest.
So what then did we use the $1 million for?
For consumption, to import for people to get their cats. That is all.
Because we got so much money. And Mr. Anoko, let me ask you to rest here. Doc, I watched you on the floor of Parliament. Was it on Thursday or Friday? One of them. Yeah, okay. Where the issues of COVID came to the floor. Yeah. And I watched you. I mean, you successfully delivered and you tried to explain yourself away, etc. But even before you get to the health aspect of it, okay, well, let me get you to start with the health from the health perspective before we go to the expenditure perspective.
Okay, first and foremost, I'm highly disappointed in the president for his last delivery, because the most important issues that were raised by the Ghana Medical Association during his speech, he did not address them. One area of concern is the issue of the management of COVID-19 and then the cost involved. Mm-hmm. If we are serious, this sickness, we have all agreed that there is a new variant in the system.
Across the world?
Yes, across the world, due to mutation. Yeah. And that is what is now bringing the new wave. So practically, even though the old methods of management is still there, we still need to think out of the box to be able to manage these new variants, because the new variants have been found out to be more infectious, they can spread faster, and we currently should expect that we'll have more cases. And in the UK, for example, their death toll is increasing. Mm-hmm. And they're able to register even up to over 1,000 deaths a day. In South Africa, also very, very high. So in Ghana here, we are yet tracking on our new variants. And so the picture is not very, very different from what is happening elsewhere.
Absolutely.
Elsewhere. And looking at our country, see, the president is trying to enforce the protocols of related to COVID-19. Mm-hmm. But the Medical Association drew its attention to the fact that the cost of even testing for COVID-19 is too high. Yeah. Now we should be at a stage where people who even feel that from their own, yes, because now you can even try to test your smell every day. Yeah. Yes, just test your smell every day. You can take a cup of wine, test to see whether you can smell the wine. If you think that you're not smelling the wine as you know the wine to be, you can just go and carry out a COVID test so that we capture it early. Yeah. And once we capture it early, then early management, of course, will result to what? A good outcome. So if we are not doing so, I mean, the cost of testing is that very high. Then and individuals cannot go out and test. Now it's about, the government had around $50, so I'm not surprised it's around 4 million, 5 million before you can get a test. So the Medical Association is calling the government, other testing should be made free. Yeah. Or if even something should be taken. It should be a token.
And compulsory.
You know, yes. So that anybody who feels that he wants to test should be able to test. Then comes the issue of vaccine. I don't know what he said about the vaccine, but even though there are so many theories about it in the social media, etc., I must say that there is only one direction that we all have to understand, and that is we reach a stage where vaccine is necessary. Let's leave its efficacy and all other things. No, let's just leave it to the technocrats, the specialists, the scientists. But it is a high time that we start looking for it. I was surprised they don't mention anything about it. Because this is where I expected that if even we are limited in terms of resources to bring in millions at a time, what about our health professionals who are the forefront fighting the COVID-19? What about the people who I would say they are very, very prone to mortality when they get the COVID-19? In other words, those who easily die because of underlying causes that we claim initially are still there anyway. What about those people? Can't we get an initial vaccine to come in and help them? And if it is, from there gradually we spread it to the population, we cannot always sit down. We are calling out the statistics. Yeah, the numbers are increasing from 900 active cases to over 1,000 active cases. Bed occupancy due to COVID is also increasing. That is in the direction of what is happening in the rest of the world. There is nothing new in what he's saying. You know.
What are you doing about it? That's the question.
What are we going to do about it? Is what is the issue. Because we don't know that due to mutation, there are various variants in the system. So we better look forward. Because if you look at the virus positivity, I understand ours have it's around 10% or exceeded 10%. And for social gatherings and etc. to be permitted, we needed something like 5%.
Wow.
Yeah, but we are already at 10%. It means that if you take this parameter as a measure, then people should not be going to school because social gatherings include schools, recreation, etc., which he counted them out that he is going to ban them. In any way, they are not already operating very normally. So that is not the issue. The issue is that our children are going to school against a virus positivity of 10% as against the norm being 5% or 5% and below. So we know that we are going against certain rules. Yes. But what do we do then? When are we going to try to see how to go forward and possibly get the vaccines and etc. to come in? Guinea has already started. Let us not be thinking of that it is only in Europe, it is only in America that we have these things going on. And so when it comes to Africa, no country. No, in Africa, some countries have already taken the lead. And we better also think. As regards, there are a lot of scientific theories, etc., being propounded. Some trying to say it is not safe, etc. New methods have been introduced that people are thinking it is not safe. Let us leave that job for our scientists.
All right.
Yes, to come out with it. Whether the messenger RNA is involved, whether the attenuated viruses are involved, these methods are all there and they are claiming to be good.
But what does it mean for us? I mean, if they say that bed occupancy is on the decline, I mean, on
the increase.
On the increase, I beg your pardon. What does it mean for the nation? Because what it means is that if the numbers of coronavirus cases increase, the more.
And the active cases
increase, the more.
Yes.
We are going to suffer in terms of even for normal ailments and things like that. We will not be able to even get beds.
Eventually, what is going to happen is that all our hospitals are going to be full with COVID cases. And our problem now is that apart from creating the beds, which currently I understand that we have a surplus of the beds for COVID, we have a surplus. But what about the human resource?
Yeah.
Can we, in a short term, increase our human resource? No. Currently, they are having problems getting enough nurses, enough doctors to join their colleagues who are already working there. Already. That problem has already emerged. Where the emergency unit of some of these hospitals, they can't get enough nurses.
Yeah.
So they can take in more patients, even though they have beds there, empty beds, but they can't take in more patients.
Let me ask this very important question. Mr. Anoko, I know you want to make an intervention, but I'll come to you. Dr. Nawani, you recall that we were giving some monies, right?
Yes.
What were you supposed to use those monies for? We're in Parliament, so I want us to...
Yes, a lot of monies in the form of grants, in the form of loans, came in during this thing. I remember there was a time we were quoting, we wanted about $30-something million and all those sort of things. They all came in as loans and grants that was given to so many countries, including Ghana.
Granted, but what was it supposed to what
We
were
were
you
supposed to
use
use
the
the
money for?
PPEs to buy this COVID-19 material,
The nose masks.
the nose masks, the
hand sanitizers.
the hand sanitizers,
The gloves.
the PPEs, and anything that was related to COVID. In the management of COVID, yes, we
were we able to do that? Because the request was made through Parliament, correct?
Yes.
Have they come back to Parliament to
They
tell
have
us?
not come to us to account for it. And apart from that, during the elections, we all saw that some of the rice, some of the sanitizers, etc., that were bought to manage COVID, we didn't distribute it outside as part of the campaign of people. There's no need to shy away from it. Rice and etc. They bought those by thinking that our lockdown was going to be prolonged,
Extended, yeah.
extended, and we know that type of rice because when there was lockdown, some of their MPs were giving those things in vehicles to go and distribute to people, and they had some of it stocked in the warehouses, etc. And it was during the campaign period, and night before voting, that type of rice was being shared in constituencies. From the center, and this we believe that is all part of the COVID rice, which if we had gone on a lockdown for a prolonged period, would have been used. Hand sanitizers, soaps, etc., that were shared during the elections, all came from this COVID fund. Indeed, sometimes we of the NDC, we think that the COVID fund was used to assist the incumbent government in its election bids for 2020. And I say that this is a very, very sorry state that this so-called COVID, which was so devastating to all of us, LPP, NDC, and everybody included, now found the fund being used by only one side for the purpose of maintaining power, and not because there was a lockdown or because individuals needed the sanitizers. No, it was not like that. And we should be very, very sorry to ourselves as a country. We should be very, very sorry, unfortunate that as a country, the COVID-19 fund was used for purposes such as election campaign.
Yeah, I was actually going to come there because it appears that there's a whole block of confusion in my mind. But Mr. Anoko, let me allow you to make the quick point that you wanted to make, and then we can expand the conversation because it's very crucial. Where we are now, nothing moves, nothing can be addressed. no development, real development can be experienced, no better impact can be felt economically if we have not been able to address this issue of COVID-19. I think it's happening the world over. So it's very important that we spend a little more time here. But you wanted to make a quick point. Let me allow you to do so.
Well, I wanted to make about 2 or 3 quick
please
points.
Proceed. It's okay.
After the first stage of the COVID and everything, I think there was a demand for more nose masks and the soap. How do you call the soap? Sanitary hand sanitizers and then PPEs for our medical doctors and everything. The question I would like to pose is, how many factories have we built or have we gotten with the $1 billion, with the 600 million Ghana cedis that we raised? The 600 million was by us from our own resources. The 1 billion was from the World Bank or something of that sort. How many factories has it translated into to be producing this thing? Because I bet you that 1 billion which was given to us, which we used to import PPEs and others from other countries, stimulated the economy. Why couldn't we have also directed it to stimulate our economy? That you realize that we hate investment.
Absolutely.
We love consumption. And we love importing because somebody is going to cream off something. Now, talking about the vaccine, anytime somebody mentions Russia, you see people snickering, especially on television. But Pfizer is not thinking about you. The market in the United States of America and in Europe is far more lucrative than your market. You yourself, you are waiting for some freebies from some donor to pay for them. So you are down there. Meanwhile, the Chinese, where it started from, they have brought about a vaccine, and the cases in China has gone down. The Russians have brought about vaccines. Other Western European countries, Brazil and others, are using a combination of both the Chinese and the Russian ones. Meanwhile, you think that, you should only use Pfizer's one. And so you get some free money to go and import some Pfizer's vaccine. It should be a moot point. We shouldn't even talk about vaccines. You see how wicked our elite is?
Very.
How narrow-minded that they are. They can't think outside the box. They can't be innovative or nothing. I mean,
it's true.
They just exist for existence sake. What is our national interest? Our national interest is for our citizens to survive. So it doesn't matter whether the medicine is Chinese, from Afghanistan, from Kazakhstan, or from wherever. So long as it can kill the virus, we ought to use it.
Absolutely.
We are quiet because we are waiting for some handouts.
From America.
From Pfizer. I don't know whether it's a German company or an American company.
Are importing Chinese
product
vaccine to use. And we are here, we just, just sitting down and thinking that no, we must get it from possibly the most expensive source, or we are simply not doing anything. We are simply not doing anything.
Well, so thank you very much, gentlemen, for this wonderful...
And that is why I was surprised about his speech, because when he came yesterday, well, I knew that if the students were supposed to be in school, then the next thing we are supposed to be talking about is how fast
are going to vaccinate.
Are we going to get vaccine into the country?
Yeah, very, very, very crucial.
Yes.
Now, on the 14th of January, and I think Adam can put this on the screens for everybody to also read with me, it's a memo from Food and Drugs Authority dated the 14th of January 2021. Okay, so that's on your screens now. And it says, subject COVID-19 additional information. I think it's crucial that we get this additional information. It reads, research organized by King's College London has revealed that there are in fact 6 distinct types of COVID-19, each distinguished by a particular cluster of symptoms. So the 6 clusters are as follows. 1, flu-like with no fever, i.e. you get headache, loss of smell, loss of taste, muscle pains, cough, sore throat, chest pain, and no fever. The second one is flu-like with fever, headache, loss of smell, loss of taste, cough, sore throat, hoarseness, fever, loss of appetite. 3, gastrointestinal, headache, loss of smell, loss of taste, loss of appetite, diarrhea, sore throat, chest pain, no cough. Severe level 1 fatigue, headache, loss of smell, loss of taste, cough, fever, hoarseness, chest pain, fatigue. Severe level 2 confusion, headache, loss of smell, loss of taste, loss of appetite, cough, fever, hoarseness, sore throat, chest pain, fatigue, confusion, muscle pain. The last one, severe level 3 abdominal and respiratory, headache, loss of smell, loss of taste, loss of appetite, cough, fever, hoarseness, sore throat, chest pain, fatigue, confusion, muscle pain, shortness of breath, diarrhea, abdominal pain. And the constituents say, I wish to urge all staff to continue to follow all the laid down COVID-19 safety protocols. I believe this was an internal memo that was sent, and we chanced on it, and I feel it's important to put it out so that the viewers will know what is happening. And I'm surprised that FDA is warning its staff, but the president in his address yesterday failed to mention this. And I think, because if you want to address the state, bring us up to speed with what is happening relative to COVID-19, then you must look at all angles of it. Don't come and tell us what you think is right or wrong. Tell us what the real situation is. Tell us what the dimensions are, so that we get prepared, Doc.
Yes.
Because this is serious, actually.
It's quite,
So, because the symptoms,
serious.
now we know the symptoms are just one.
Yeah.
You know, some foolishness, you feel a little drowsy here and there, some small pain, blah, blah, blah. You start coughing, the shortness of breath, a little fever here and there, and then, you can't breathe. And then so that's it. That's all we know. I didn't know about this until yesterday.
Yeah, me too.
A lot of work is being done, actually, in the clinical aspect of it, such that I believe that we can self-diagnose ourselves. In the very near future, you might not need a health professional.
Yeah.
Yes. And that is why the cost for tests to be either free or just something minimal.
It should be free.
Yes. Because if people can diagnose themselves and can test to confirm, then we can get the cases very, very early.
Absolutely.
Yes. And the difference is that those people can be treated from the home. You don't need to admit them to the hospital. And mortality among that group is very small. It's those who report very ill that you find it actually very difficult to sometimes save them. Yeah. But those who come in, quite early, is like any other flu that one gets, and they are managed within that limit, and the cure rate is very, very high. So we have to see what we can do as a nation. And that's why I'm saying that it's a hard time that the president puts his act together. Yeah. Yes.
So a quick comment on that as well, and then we'll move on.
Well, I don't know, but I think that...
it scares you, doesn't it?
Yes,
it scares me too. Yesterday when I said I was scared.
But I think that, you see, this is likely to be gotten only by the middle class.
Yeah.
What about the mass of the people, the public? How we get into them? Public education is very important.
Absolutely.
And you see, this is not the first time there's been public educational campaigns around various diseases where there has been an outbreak in our country. Whether it was smallpox, whether it was elephantiasis, whether it was yaws, and all those things. Those accumulated experiences which our medical industry has should be put to good use. You see, it is not only enough to do the clinical aspect of the curative aspect of the medicine, but it's also making people aware. So that, like doctor said, when you get to know that, oh, you are having a dry cough or you are having intestinal, whatever it is, either you are told where to report first, that's the first line of defense, or something of that sort, before you get into the hospital. Because the hospital itself is an incubator for spreading the disease.
Absolutely.
You understand? And people are afraid to go to the hospital. You understand?
Well, so I just checked the meaning of hoarseness. I'm not a doctor, so I didn't know. So I just checked. So for the purposes of those of us who are not medical doctors or who don't have any medical background, and for you and I, an average person like you and I, hoarseness is a symptom and not a disease. It is a general term that describes abnormal voice changes. Abnormal voice changes. When hoarse, the voice may sound breathy, raspy, strained, or there may be changes in volume, i.e. loudness or pitch, how high or low the voice is. So for those of us out there, we should notice this. Hoarseness hoarseness in our voice is also now a symptom of COVID-19. It's not just about you not being able to breathe properly. Now, if you're not able to talk as normal as you used to, worried. You should be worried. Okay, we are done with COVID-19. Now, let's come to the economy and discuss another important variant of the economy, which has got to do with fuel prices. Mr. Eneku, no, Dr. Nawan, this time I'll start with you. Fuel prices to go up. The Inside Newspaper reported. I think we've experienced this. Fuel prices have gone up severally. I think over 23 times or so.
No, I think we have lost the count.
Yeah, we have lost the count. And it's strange how nobody's talking about it. And when you talk about it, they say, "Oh, you hate government. You don't like government. Why are you doing this? Why?" On Facebook, people always try to bastardize me. Yeah, but I don't care because I speak for the masses, and I think that everything that we do in this nation is connected to fuel. The prices of commodities, to be able to commute from one place to the other, is all connected to fuel and its pricing. Dr. Nawani, let me hear from you.
The next I can say is that most often, after elections, the next issue is that we should expect fuel prices to increase, because the issue usually comes up before elections, where we know that. There should be fuel price increases. The dollar is going up. The cedi is coming down. So it's the international market too. That is the way that things are really measured. So if you have some of these parameters happening, and before elections you don't see anything happening, then after elections, nicodemously, they try to push it in, and to get back their money.
But before you go on, I think Ambassador Sampiali raised a very important issue. I think if we can just quickly touch on it, on the COVID-19. He says, I heard the president complain that the new set of COVID-19 has been imported into Ghana through our airports. All right, when did he arrive in Ghana from the UK? He's asking the president. Did we know that at the period he planed to UK, the new COVID was trending? The other time, it was after his Norwegian visit, and this time too, after his UK visit. I mean, it might sound funny, but there's some modicum of truth in there.
There's logic in the argument.
It is not only about the president going to Norway or going to England. It is the policy which opened our borders. Whilst other countries are restricting travel, you understand, and ensuring that there's strict compliance with protocols. They said there was a variant in South Africa.
Yeah, apparently South Africa's variant is deadlier.
Yeah, the English people are saying that when they got it, it came from South Africa.
Yeah.
We are having normal commercial flights to South Africa.
Absolutely.
We are having normal commercial flights with England. We are having normal commercial flights with all the countries which have had these virulent forms of the new variants. So it is the policy. You understand? Yeah. It is the policy.
Well, right. Let's proceed with this oil thing. But I just wanted us to quickly touch on what Ambassador Sampiale remarked. Let's hear from you on this fuel issue.
Yeah. So no, I just.
I mean, now I used to fill my car with 200 Ghana cedis. Yeah. Now, when you buy 200 Ghana cedis,
I'm not surprised at all because that's what happens. You know, because before the elections, you see the government trying to hold on to the price of fuel, the price of other utilities, etc. Then after elections, you know, it goes up. And you can see the city, they are now trying to possibly auction out some dollars to be able to stabilize the city. Mm-hmm. That is the only way that they can stabilize the city because there's no production going on.
Absolutely.
You know, and so the old methods.
Anyway, let me come to you.
You know, of managing
the economy. I'm not really surprised.
I like how he says, you're the old.
I'm not really surprised. It is lack of adherence to the discipline imposed by the market.
Yes, sir.
The market said that, of course, the market dictates prices and everything. You understand? And you have to ensure that your interest rate, your forex rate, and all those kind of things are held in check. We artificially do that before elections in order to bribe the electorate and make believe that we have created a very successful economy. To be told by the vice president of various indicators which shows how successful they have been. Then immediately after the elections, we go back to Bataan in order to bring austerity, in order to go back to square one. But what even beats me is that, and that this I must give kudos to President Atta Mills. If Atta Mills had not constructed the Etuabo gas plant, it means half of the fuel we'll be needing to generate electricity would have been importing them. And would we have been able to make it? We are owing the energy companies up to almost $2 billion. We are just lucky that there has not been any doomsday yet. And now you increase fuel prices, which affects the average Ghanaian much more. Why? Because the plantain, which is going to come from Efijase to Accra, is certainly going to increase because of the cost of transportation.
Yeah.
So what is this? It means the poor people of our country are being called upon and compelled to pay for the frivolous lifestyle of the elite, of the poor management of the economy by the elite. We once again have to pay, sweat and pay. Meanwhile, facilities to be given us, whether there are enough beds to fight COVID, whether there are ventilators, whether there are what, it won't be done. But we'll just be told, analysis stories, scare stories. Oh, the thing has increased from 900 to 1,900. So what should I do? That's why we're giving you the power.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's why we're giving you resources. I don't know, but the economy is going to even get worse. These little thoughts of increases in fuel prices it is going to, because they are afraid of the backlash, that's why they are not going for the real increase. That's why they are using thought. But over a period of time, it will amount to.
We know how to bring back the economy. What we do not know how is to bring.
Have we ever been able to bring about the economy? You know the kind of poverty people live in this country, even right here in Accra. Is that an economy for them? Those
so you are saying the economy is for the elite?
Yes, those kind of one-liners and those kind of things which journalists take it and run with it, it has absolutely no effect on the lifestyle of the people in Agbogboshi. Absolutely. It means nothing.
Do you know how much now a ball of kinky costs?
Not really.
I bought a ball of kinky yesterday at Dome.
Yes.
Sorry. Atomic Roundabout.
Yeah.
Address Force Constituency. Kwabenya. So no, I mean the Atomic Roundabout. Atomic Down Roundabout. There's a place called Atomic Down Roundabout. I bought kinky. A ball of kinky for 250 pesos. A ball.
250 pesos?
Like this. Yes. Yes, like this. A ball of kinky. Like this. So I had no choice. So I had to buy more.
This is in direct correlation to the value of the money.
No, I'm telling you, 250 pesos for a ball of kinky. I said, Mama, how? I said, no.
And we grow corn in this country.
Yes.
We have firewood in this country.
250 pesos. Otherwise, you allow me. You think it's a joke. 250 pesos. So, I mean, look, we have a long way to go, and we need to have a conversation about the direction of this nation. Now, Mr. Eneku, one thing is also clear.
And meanwhile,
you know,
they are going to get 600,000 CDs for Dr. Nawani and his friends.
For what?
For end of service benefits.
Oh, they work for it.
And Article 71. You think that those workers in the factories...
I don't usually argue on this.
You think those people in the factories and those who go on street, they don't work for it?
No, it depends on the nature of the work. When you juxtapose that against the cost of elections, campaigning by the individuals, then I hope one day
I'll be a politician.
Openly. No. I don't
started that conversation really to tell. We need to educate people about the real function of members of parliament.
No, the cost of a parliamentary seat.
No, but that's the whole point. People don't understand the function of
every seat.
Can cost like 2 million Ghana cedis.
Some seats.
More than 2 million Ghana cedis.
Some seats will cost you more than 2 million.
Hey, Doctor, haven't we contrived to make it so expensive in order to let the poor people not take part in the political contest?
Yeah, well,
that is where that's where the conversation should start from. How do we make the seats cheaper? How do we make the seats cheaper? Are there rules and regulations that can make the seats cheaper? And in that case, the end of service benefits will also be cheaper. So I'm not against the end of service benefits might be
we demand end of service benefits for the poor workers and those teachers and others who have worked for 30 years and go with almost nothing back home. We demand it.
No. It's an appropriate demand. But what I'm just trying to say is that, I'm telling you that with some people receiving their end of service benefits, they go home with negative.
Yeah, there's no end of service benefits for workers. They
they
only collect some paltry slate pension.
They go home with negative. In other words, you take your end of service benefits, you go and pay your debt.
You are talking of the
yes. And so you pay your debt and you still be owing.
Let me read a few WhatsApp messages. Messages on our Facebook platform, and then we'll try. If you're on Twitter, just tweet at me at Kwame Owusu, so I'll read your messages as well. Jalil Zakaria says, "Why are the cases going up? You said children. While the cases are going up, you say children should go back to school. Are you serious at all?" Kingston Bisnab Asimiga. What is the government doing about buying the vaccine for the citizens? Richie Duncan, I think, is responding to that and says, even the Western world haven't got enough for their citizens. How would they sell to Africans? Freddie Al says, the fear of Alachamantin made by Omia launch a 2 million COVID-19 tracker. Little did we know the tracker was a scam. In fact, I wanted to talk about the COVID-19 tracker. I don't know how I forgot. I wrote it here. Where is it? Yeah, I wrote it here. COVID-19 tracker that was launched.
Too many scams going on.
Faisal Yakubu says, Masa, we go agree. We not go agree to any vaccine. Matthew Derry says, schools likely to be closed again with the increase in new COVID-19 cases. What happens next? Gladys Farsemche says, COVID test is 600 cedis. It's not normal.
600.
Yeah, $150. So if you convert that, that's 600 cedis. Vincent Kingsford Bedu says, good morning, Pan-African TV panelists.
That would be 900.
Please, I want to ask Akufo-Addo that now that the COVID-19 cases are increasing, how many soldiers is he, Akufo-Addo, sending to voter region? Elizabeth Bansa says, don't go in for COVID vaccination. It's a way to put a chip in your body to control your life.
These are some of the theories that are in the social media, and
Mohammed Abdul Razak, I will let you respond to that. Ali says, at least Nanado should invite the scientists during his speech to give more details for the people to know more about the dangers you are exposed to for not following the protocols, and not he, the president. Mohammed Abdul Razak again says, good morning, Kiri. Here in the UK, the government is sharing test kits to the households to do the self-test, and various rapid points of collections has been established where you drop it for collections. But Ghana, the leaders are not serious. They only make money out of COVID-19. Allah save Ghana. If the Konatesalu Milo says, in the European city, if the European countries to discuss the matter of the African death, how can I understand? Okay, I don't understand this one. Salisu Setre says, I foresee another lockdown coming. Guys, let's protect ourselves, observe all the safety protocols and stay safe. Can we get the FDA memo, COVID memo again? Eda, if you can flash it on the screens for people to read that again whilst I'm reading the messages. So you can flash it on the screens for people to read it. Charles Thompson says, I'm absolutely sure this appearance this morning will send a clear message to the people joking about this deadly disease. I don't know if you can flash it on. Producers, tell Adam to flash it on the screens again. Mohammed Abdul Razak Ali says, KOD, are the parliamentarians taking their ex-gracias in the midst of COVID-19 pandemic? Ask doctor for me. So that's it. It's on the screens now. And then we can scroll it slowly so others can get the opportunity to read by themselves. So go up. Let us see where it's coming from. No, up, all the way up. All the way up. Yes. So it's from, where is it? All staff from DC Health Products and Technologies Division, Seth K. Sineke or whatever. I don't know. So you can read it for yourselves. This one says, good morning to you, the panel and crew, watching you live from Rome in Italy. Please, haven't you people heard of or seen the video circulating around of some group of white men planning seriously to eliminate or wipe away billions of black race, especially in Africa, due to the huge excess growing of the black population in the world through this vaccine of COVID-19? Simply put, the number and overgrowing population of black race, as they call it. Please, the government and the Food and Drug Authority should be very vigilant, allowing any vaccine of COVID-19 to the country. Well, to let you know that the whites are even dying more. Bilal Yusuf said, I still don't understand this EC selected the president. All his speeches are found not to be relevant today. Portia Stone Carey says, please, can we ask why government is taking $150 at the airport? We, the ordinary people, cannot pay that. The president of Ghana must reconsider the view of Ghana. He must credit Ghanaians with some level of intelligence and rethink his actions. He seems to take Ghanaians for granted, and it's not funny at all. Yandam Dinka Benjamin says, President Nabo must treat Ghanaians with a little more respect. His Royal Highness Don Don says, KOD, we need 6,000 soldiers in Volta region to come and fight COVID-19. Kenneth says, will MPs forgo their ex gratia to support the fight against COVID-19? Did you forgo taking off Ghana's 1,000 Ghana cedis before voting for them? Yandam again says, President Ronaldo must have some respect for the people of this country. Pakwesi Eseku says, where is the COVID-19 tracker app launched by Baumia? Good question. And these are a few messages that have been sent to us on Facebook. Let me see if I can get some on Twitter as well. I'm sure I would have some messages on Twitter as well. Let me see. Where are the messages? Okay. Right. This one says, okay, let me start from the top. KOD, kindly share the FDA document with us or tweet it so we can assess it. Thank you. I'll tweet it right now. This one says, please, this from Philip Abochi says, please, Nanado's government wants to make Ghanaians slaves in our own country, but God will not support that. The increasing of COVID-19 is the cause of Akufo-Addo's government. The president selected must close airlines. All the figures are all right. Philip Abochi, I've seen your message again. Papa Ike the General says, KOD, once again, whatever is happening in Uganda to me is a planned thing by some African leaders to keep on enjoying power. And okay, so these are a few messages that I've received on my Twitter handle, which is Kwame Owusu Danso. If you are able to send us your messages on Twitter, I will be more than willing to read those messages for us. My very good friend Jane is asking a very important question. Don't you think we need another lockdown? Maybe I need to ask you this question because I was going to actually ask you this question. It escaped me. Mr. Eneko, do you think we need another lockdown now?
Well, I think that we need a series of measures, and I wouldn't rule out a lockdown. But you see, there must be a clear solution also in sight. Those clear solutions should include the provision of vaccines. It should also include the fact that we should make online education more available and on-air education more available to reduce the number of children who are going to school, etc. We should enforce the rules about beach parties and all those things. Most of the people who go for beach parties are the rich and the elite. You understand? Not the ordinary people. So yes, I wouldn't rule out a lockdown if it becomes necessary. But to touch on what the chap from Rome said, you see, this, yes, there have been attempts in history, especially under a science called eugenics, to do racial profiling and racial genocide and all those kind of things. But you see, plenty of the pharmaceutical industries, their medicines which have not worked have also affected ordinary people of Europe.
Absolutely.
Especially their fertility drugs. It has affected en masse a lot of people in Europe, white people. And now, luckily, unlike 50 years ago, we have our own crop of scientists, doctors, and eminent persons in the scientific field. So you think that we can't disassemble and know the efficacy of vaccines to know whether genetically it is going to be used against us or not? Then what is the essence of we having reason? Why did we go to school?
That's how come I think we want to talk. Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
It was the same thing people propounded when there was the smallpox and there was a vaccine. And I've forgotten the name of this deadly disease.
Which one and one?
Where the smallpox.
Chicken pox, okay.
Yeah,
Not chicken pox, the smallpox.
Yeah, there is smallpox.
Yes, but there was also another disease. Not long ago, Boko Haram dems were saying that people shouldn't be vaccinated in northern Nigeria with those vaccines. And it was killing them. It was killing them. You see somebody who is has become an invalid because of that disease.
Wow.
Polio.
The poliomyelitis.
You understand? But the truth of the matter is that we have enough capacity. The Ghanaian, the African, the black man, we have enough capacity to know whether a vaccine is dangerous to us or not.
Beyond that, I think yesterday I was in a conversation with someone, and maybe Dr. Nawani, you can help us with this. And the person was like, he doesn't understand why Ghanaian scientists have not been able to come up with a vaccine till today. Because then
The truth of the matter, we don't have the capacity.
Why don't we have the capacity?
Oh, it involves a lot of millions and millions.
Do you have
and
scientists in this country?
Scientists, yes. Capacity, no.
We have scientists
And
here.
that is a state problem. That is the Ghana as a country. We do not have that much resources to be able to this thing. There are so many stages, and even stage 1 alone could cost billions of dollars. You've got to, write out your report. You've got to give a lot of testing, etc., to put people together to work. It's these big pharmaceutical companies that are working for themselves, I'll say it that way, that are able to come out with that amount of resources. In other words, they are able to raise that amount of resources from their financial system. In Ghana here, if you try to raise any certain amount of money from our banks, you make a loss. You at the end of it, you will be arrested because you will not be able to pay.
They said that the disease in question is SARS. Is that what you're trying to refer to?
No, I think it's polio.
It was
SARS, SARS came
later in North Africa and the Middle East.
Yeah. Yes. So I think that the issue that we are talking about is about this theories about this, those who think they are superior. Do you
know why I'm upset?
They are for superior race.
I'm upset because for all these years we've not been able to invest properly into science and technology.
Not sufficient, yeah.
You see,
it's terrible.
It is lack of priority.
But what should we prioritize in this modern age where everybody's investing in technology?
If you go to Noguchi, for example, all the scientists that are working over there, they were well employed in Europe or America.
So
they've worked there for not less than 10 years before coming down. And that's how they are able to find themselves over there. That is the hierarchy of Noguchi I'm talking about. And now they come to, train people under them. So whatever can be done in those big laboratories in Europe and America, it can also be done here. But like I'm saying, we don't have the capacity as a nation. We don't have the capacity, possibly our professors, etc., can be employed by the big pharmaceutical companies to do some part of the research for them. Yes, but Ghana cannot
on Twitter.
Do you know that we do research work paid by these companies, big pharmaceutical companies, and the results are sent back to them. They bring their research work to be done in Africa here. Africa here is cheaper.
Doctor, there means that we have the capacity, that is the intellectual, knowledge, which we have allowed ourselves to be using it for other people.
Absolutely, because we are
to work.
Okay, hold on. Let me make it, but I'll come to that
instead of using it and employing it for ourselves, we had $1 billion. What did we use it for? To import rice when we grow rice in northern Ghana?
It's about priorities. It's about priorities.
It's about priorities.
Yeah.
Do you want to do it or not? You understand? Look, the Kwame University of Science and Technology,
the best school in Africa.
A researcher was able to invent a cassava harvesting machine.
And nobody...
Professor Bobobi.
Yeah.
You understand? We grow cassava in this country. Nigeria and elsewhere, Indonesia, they grow cassava. Have we thought that, there's a market out there, and so we should do investment in it and be able to export there? I said we are not original thinkers. Our elite. Thank you.
Kwame, this one is from Minister Grind, otherwise known as Baron on Twitter. And it says the $150 is more than 600 Ghana cedis. So even if we use 5 Ghana cedis, $2. Hey! Charlie, Matao, the Mata chop hot. Yeah, he's right. This one says, okay, right. So I've tweeted the FDA memo. So for those of you who are asking, you can check on my Twitter handle. Good morning to you, KOD. For the government to enforce the COVID-19 protocols, the government should rather provide masks and sanitizers for the police to distribute it to the ordinary citizen on the streets. If all the citizens should go down with the novel COVID-19, who is going to govern? Who is he going to govern? Cleaning the gutters won't solve any problem of checking coronavirus. Chris from Sabuba, very, very intelligent submission. I presume the president is watching this morning, and he will see reason with what you've said.
I'm afraid.
Oh, my phone is off. Wow.
afraid
I'm sad.
that this type of punishment is really going to increase the incidence of
That's right.
COVID-19.
Yeah, of course. Unfortunately. Well, my time is up.
Because we are asking that we should clean our hands. We should, avoid, all these unsanitary conditions. And the punishment is that you should go in there.
And people are not well attached.
They don't have the gloves. Anything.
It's sad. Well, this one is from Kotuka Courage in Aloga. And he says, good morning to my brother KOD. Another fuel increment again. We are dead. Please, I want to use your medium to tell the Speaker of Parliament, Alban, that we put him there to favor us, not the MPP. You cannot say that, my brother. He doesn't serve only the MPP. And Jane is pretty worried about the upsurge in the numbers of COVID-19. She's really very worried. Normally, she doesn't send me messages, but this morning she sent 1,000 messages, all because of COVID-19. Jane, don't be worried too much. We'll go through this. We'll pull through this. It's sad, but what can we say? And Reverend Francis, Reverend Father, you are watching me all the way in Cape Coast. And Theo in Naledugu Gambaga is also watching this morning. Albert, General Manager of Atinka TV, you are watching us this morning. A special good morning to you. And to all those who watched us on Facebook, thank you. But let me say a special good morning to you. Honorable Alhaji Baba Seidu Isifu, Honorable Member of Parliament for Naledugu Gambaga constituency. You've met him, haven't you? Yeah. Now you've met my friend.
Yeah. We're together.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
but they are the back benches. Observing from the back. Now you move forward. I saw that you moved forward.
Oh, no indications yet.
No indications yet.
We're sitting mixed up.
Mixed up. Anybody could sit anywhere. Okay, but for the newbies, they have to sit at the back. It's mandatory, isn't it?
Yes, it's like that.
Absolutely.
You've got to start from the back and move forward.
Fantastic. So a special good morning to you, Alhaji Baba Seidu Isifu. And we had a conversation on Friday, and what you told me, if you're able to do it, I will be very, very happy. To the extent that you don't want to see any child in your constituency study on their bellies. I mean, that really touched me. It really touched me. I had a very hearty conversation with you. You said, listen, it's not acceptable that you would be a member of parliament for 4 years and children in your constituency will be studying whilst lying on their bellies. And I think it's flowing from Ahmed's documentary that she did in Naledugu Gambaga, when we had children lying on their bellies to write and things like that. And it's really very disheartening, really.
It's not the best.
Yeah, and I think that you're doing that in your constituency, I believe. You're providing chairs and things like that. For me, that is education. It's not just about saying somebody should go to school free. No, it's about that. That's the basics is as important as senior school. And Mr. Eneku, have you seen the school fees for the tertiary institutions?
I thought that they said that Chemupe.
No, Mama.
So they also brought a counter.
Oh, they brought Chimpe.
No, I thought that
free. I think they brought them like free.
Sure, go and tell us. It's not easy. It's not easy. I will show you my inbox how people are attacking me for school fees. It's not easy. It's not easy if you're on TV. People think you are so rich. Maybe I'll take it from the Tanawani and support small. 1,000. We will support small. Anyway, also a special good morning to you, Alhaji Kasule. You're watching us this morning. A special good morning. You know him, right?
Yes, I do.
He's your friend.
Yes. My greetings to Alhaji.
Alhaji Kasule.
It's been a long time.
You should go and visit him.
Yes, I have to.
Yeah. Alhaji Kasule, good morning to you. Also to my very good friend and brother, the CEO of RMP Oil. I call him just simply Raj. Raj, good morning to you. You are doing the watching this morning. A special good morning to you, sir. And I'll try and see you today. I know today is going to be busy for you, but I'm definitely going to try and touch base with you this morning. To the very many viewers out there who watched us this morning, I cannot thank you enough. Thank you very much for spending your morning with me here on Pan-African Television. It's been an absolute pleasure serving you. Thank you. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Please stay safe out there. COVID-19 is real. And I know what I'm talking about. It's real. And it's closer than you think. Please be safe. Be safe. Be safe. Thank you.